So it's different from
When we're testing this one out. So
okay.
One show. All right.
Are you sharing screen now?
Well, it's setting up right now. I'm waiting on Workplace to connect, and then we'll go live here.
Beautiful day. Can tell this weekend.
All right. Well, here we go.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today is the 20th. We are kind of doing our weekly sales meeting update on the market, that kind of thing, as far as what's going on. And well, just trying to keep everyone in the know, with everything that's happened with the coronavirus. It's kind of really it's really put a lot of us kind of into a tailspin on how we're doing business and that kind of thing. And so this is mine and Ming's way to try and reach out, engage everyone, keep you in the know about what's going on. So we appreciate you taking a little bit of time with us today. My name's Richardson. I'm the managing broker.
Ming Richardson.
And she's the compliance broker and basically queen of all things. So, but we're going to be kind of jumping in today, and so we're just going to kind of banter back and forth and kind of go over all these different things. I've got a lot of different slides. I'm going to show you some are some news topics, some are things that's going on. But we want to make sure that we're continuing to engage and be very active about what's going on in our business and that we're in the know. So
not only that, when you're informed, you can actually talk to your client with confidence and also with logic, and they tend to understand a little bit better and have a better cohesiveness with you when it comes to selling or buying their home.
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing is that home buyers are still shopping right now, despite pessimism in the market and everything being bad. People are buying houses, people are selling houses, loans are happening. We're still seeing it happen right now. And so don't think that everything is just terrible and everything in the world has just gone to pot. It really, really hasn't. So, we're going to start off with a little bit of good news, and that is that jobless claims fell last week. It was still really high, not to say it's not enormously high, but the fact is that we had less jobless claims last week than we had the week before. So, hopefully this is a trend that we'll continue to keep seeing as it moves forward, kind of thing, because the less people out of work, the better off this is for all of us, kind of thing.
Well, not only that, we have noticed the traffic increase a little bit, just being out, doing what we do. So hopefully you have, if you've gone out, you probably have seen that as well.
Yeah, we are seeing it. Now, at first, the headline looks real. This next headline looks very, very troubling. New home construction was down 22% from a month ago. That's and it shows a 6.8% drop in building permits. And so at first glance, you think, okay, how, new construction is looking really, really bad. But when you actually look at it a little bit deeper kind of thing, it was 22% down, but it's still 1.4% higher than a year ago. And that's with coronavirus. So even with coronavirus, we're still slightly higher than we were building, at a level that we were building last year. We're building faster this year, and we really need that, because new construction starts the whole ball of wax rolling down the hill, or snowballing kind of thing, because somebody buys a new construction home, well, then they sell their home, and someone buys that home, and they sell their home, and someone buys that home, kind of thing. So we need new construction, kind of thing. So on one hand, we know that the builders are struggling right now. They're not struggling as much on the sales side as they really are struggling on the employment side and all the restrictions on everything going on. They're having the same issues that we are with financing. So all those kind of things are still are affecting new construction as well. But understand that, if you look at the headline, it looks like, oh my goodness, new construction is down 22%. Well, it was still 1.5% higher than last year. So there's some real positive that goes along with that also, kind of thing. We also had a recent NAR survey kind of thing, and some survey came out. And so there's some very interesting things that came out of that. And so first thing is that 60% of buyers, according to NAR members, 60% of buyers are delaying buying for a couple of months. And this is really pretty much what we've been expecting, kind of thing, is that the majority of folks that everything is tied to coronavirus. When coronavirus fears and when those things subside, that it is going to come back. We have about 12% of our buyers are on indefinite hold. These are folks that have lost their jobs, that kind of stuff. They're not really sure what's going on, kind of thing, and I can completely understand that. 12% of our folks have been going basically virtual on their business, so they're continuing to operate, and 8% of us are just still doing business as usual, kind of thing. It's hard. There's so many people that on one hand completely, like won't go out, wears the mask, does everything. There's also 8% of us that are out there just running business as it really would. On the seller side, you'll see, on the seller side, the numbers are really almost a mirror image. 57% of sellers are delaying listings for a month or two, kind of thing. And 10% of our sellers are on indefinite hold. So, looking ahead, it looks like about, 90% of our market is going to be coming back in a relatively short amount of time. These are not made up numbers, that kind of stuff. We know that there's going to be some kind of effects held, but it's not all terrible. And it is all tied to coronavirus. And what we see is that, our buyers and our sellers both are telling us, look, we want to buy, we want to sell. We just need a little bit more time to get this thing kind of underneath us over there, kind of thing.
Well, not only that, with government requiring us stay in shelter place. But I can tell you right now, a lot of other states and different areas have basically voiced their displeasure about the shelter in place and not being a constitutional thing.
Yeah, well,
but you'll see some businesses, some state are
that's a touchy
releasing.
thing. We'll talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, now one thing that also came out of this study, and I have some interesting numbers to share with you here, is that for the buyers who are in the market, 63% of them said that they were expecting prices to decline. And they're waiting, and about a quarter of them are waiting for a decline of 5 to 10%. However, on the seller side, 3/4 of our recipients said their sellers, 75% of our sellers said that they're not doing it, and only 13% of agents said that they dropped pricing. But what we see is that that's completely normal. There's nothing. A lot of listings come out on the market, and people, like, hey, we're going to try this price, that kind of stuff. So 13% with a price cut less than 5% is nothing abnormal. We're not seeing massive shifts in this turning into a buyer's market. The inventory is just way too crazy tight for that to happen. If you look at, these are some numbers that came out from FMLS this past week, and that first quarter sales, 2020 versus 2019, up 7%. We've seen a 10% price increase in first quarter this year versus first quarter last year. Now, I know this is the whole overall quarter numbers, but still, we're still showing a 10% price increase versus last year for the entire quarter, kind of thing. Overall showings are down for sure, but we're outperforming the national average. Matter of fact, the South is seen as the most optimistic area, kind of thing. And even though there's a lot of things going on, new listings in the previous 4 weeks, there was 13,400 new listings. Now that is down 6% from 2019, but we all expect that.
Right.
But when you look at 6% down versus a year ago, the thing is that we're moving into our spring, summer buying season, kind of thing. And so this is a time when our market normally just starts, basically you strike a match and the thing just lights up. So we are looking at, all that is going to be tying back into us as well right now. Also, home prices were up, only a 0.08 or 0.8. Yeah, 0.8, almost 1% kind of thing, year over year, week ending April 11th. And so what that means is that we didn't see the same 2, 3, 4% increase that we have, but April so far, we are still up over the prior year, and that's with a 1.6 annual rise, kind of thing. So we are not seeing prices drop. And so that's the thing that we really need to be taking a little bit of time and communicating to our clients, because some of them think, oh, it's going to be like, oh, wait, prices are going to drop. There's all kind of deals, going to be foreclosures everywhere. It's not what's going on. That's not what's happening. Inventory is too crazy tight for us to be able to see these kind of things. I do think that there may be certain instances, random things that happen that will facilitate a deal here or there. But overall, it's just not, none of the numbers are like they were. Our inventory levels are way too crazy tight. In 08, we had 8 to 9 months of standing inventory. Right now, we've got less than 3. Americans have twice the savings that they had back there. 37% of all the homes in the U.S. have no mortgage on them, kind of thing. Over 50% of the remaining homes have over 50% equity in those homes. So, this is not 08. And so,
and actually, I had a client came out and says, I'm looking for foreclosures, and I basically told the client there's not a whole lot of foreclosure going on right now. And yes, depends on the seller. Some seller, if they listen to the media, to all the news, and they get scared, and yes, they will drop their price. But most likely, the one that are informed and understand what's going on in the industry knows that the inventory are low. So therefore, they're not going to drop their price just because, the market is the way it is right now. So there's not a whole lot of stress level on some of the seller unless it's a distress sale where they can be foreclosed or what have you.
right. And we're just not seeing that out there right now. There are a lot less buyers in the market. But guess what? There's also a lot less sellers in the market. Matter of
Correct.
fact, you'll see on the screen, 40, according to realtor.com's listings are down 47%. Almost half of the listings or there's almost half the listings that there was a year ago, kind of thing. And
Right.
so, yes, we have less buyers. Yes, we're in a coronavirus recession. But all this eases as coronavirus eases as well.
And as you see the medical of the medical industry come out with any new vaccine or tests and stuff like that, you'll see the fear lessen as well.
Right.
So
Now, we are seeing some things that we didn't expect to see. Like in the past, we've seen especially in the past 4 to 5 years, we've seen a shift back to urban kind of thing, and now all of a sudden, rural homes, especially with the coronavirus, has just been a massive psychological shift. So if you've got one of your clients is out in the sticks and the boonies kind of thing, suddenly that's a very hot property. That's a commodity kind of thing. Redfin CEO said that there is it's a profound psychological change because of coronavirus and wanting the distance, that rural homes are now suddenly hot on the market kind of thing. And so, whereas it may not have been that way, we are seeing a shift. Another place where we're seeing a shift right now is in how we buy houses kind of thing.
mhm.
And this one's really, really, it's fueled almost exclusively from coronavirus, because before corona, like I used to hate blind offers, and we'd hate, and so we get blind offers and we'd poop with them in a second. We'd be like, nah, don't even bother. We're not, the sellers weren't interested kind of thing. Well, guess what? Times are changing kind of thing. So 24% of a recent survey found that they'd be willing to buy a home without seeing it in person. 1 out of 4 people are now willing to buy a house and not see it in person. I find that, maybe it's because I'm old, I don't know, but it's staggering to me kind of thing. According to Redfin, 12% of their offers came from virtual tours only. And that follows on the heels of a recent NAR survey that said that around 24%, let's see, basically a quarter of the people put a contract on a property without seeing it. Sorry, I'm just babbling today. So, but we are seeing this massive shift. Somewhere in that 20 to 25% of our buyers right now say that they're willing to buy a house and never see it in person. And so for me, that causes a lot of different questions in my head. And I start wondering, okay, If people are willing to do that as a listing agent, what do we have to do? Well, virtual tours are so
Mm-hmm.
much more important. The quality of our pictures and our photographs, going in and taking a video tour of the homes is so important. Our buyers are buying, if they're willing to buy houses online, we've got to make sure that how we market, present these homes is done differently. The idea of taking one picture from from an iPhone,
It's not going to
standing in
work.
front of it, is just not how this is going. You're not helping your clients out. So we've got to make sure that how we're marketing and presenting these homes really does good. One thing that a lot of our listings don't have is floor plans. Our buyers really want them, and if they're not coming out to see it, so when we can offer floor plans, when we can offer virtual tours, when we can do video tours of the property, when we have really great photos that show exactly what the house is, and a consumer can have confidence in the home, we got to make sure that we really are showing what the homes actually have.
Yeah. And so, for those of you that never thought much about online presence, right now, the industry is changing. So if you do not have any online presence, I can guarantee you, unless you strictly work with referrals, it's going to be a tough market for you out there.
Right. So moving on, we wanted to kind of talk, mortgage applications they were up 7.3% for last week. But of that was really fueled heavily with
By refi. Hmm.
refinance kind of things. Overall purchase apps were down about 35%, basically, only 2/3 of where they were last year kind of
Hmm.
thing. So we're definitely not where we want to be on that side of things. But that's largely because we're seeing such a massive influx in the mortgage markets. Because on one hand, we have 30-year mortgage rates that are near an all-time low. Okay, and this is really great news.
Hmm.
But the other side of things that we're seeing, and we interviewed a lender last week. We're talking to lenders all the time. It's not that you can't get amazing mortgage rates right now. It's that you've got to have good credit. Our clients where we're having our clients that are challenged are the folks that were at 680 or 700. Those are really hard to find right now. We're seeing some lenders that will do a 720, but most are 740 and 760 right now. So
640.
no,
Really?
yeah.
Wow, that changed.
Uh, I'm sorry. I totally know. 640, yes.
Okay. It's all right. It's
I,
been a long Monday, as you can see.
sorry, that was kind of
So most your lender typically right now are not taking anything less than 620.
yeah, thank you.
640 is what they like. And when you at 640, you might as well go conventional at that point. So, with the FHA, the VA, and some are, there are very few banks that are doing USDA. But Georgia Dream right now, I know from majority of lender are not there,
Well,
non-existent.
the thing is that we have seen Georgia Dream is there, but we've also seen Georgia Dream at 5.5%. And when you look at overall mortgage rate, right now for a 30-year fixed is 3.31, and you're at 5.5 on a Georgia Dream. Well, that just first of all, especially with Dream, all your funding fees are paid on the front end, and so really, if you're getting $5,000 from Dream, you're going to end up spending almost $3,000 of that 5,000 just to pay for that. So they're getting the $2,000-$2,500 credit, and now they're going to spend 2% more in their mortgage rate. So it's
And
not
what
really
and
a
what that
smart move.
translate is that you have less buying power. So instead of at 3.5%, you probably can buy a 180, but at 5.25, you may be down to 140, 150. So that's the difference between the rates.
Right. So, there's a lot of stuff going on with mortgages and right now, and we're continuing to see that's slowly starting to ease up. We believe that it will continue to level out as we get back to work, basically, kind of thing. This thing will ease up a little bit more. At some point, we will be back down into the 600s, that kind of thing. But I don't expect that we're going to be below 640, where the norm is 640 and 620 for quite a while. But, on that side of things, we really need to be coaching our clients as much as we can. I don't want you to go out and get into people's credit scores and that kind of stuff. But, your credit really, really matters right now. And if you're trying to buy a home, used to be you were trying to get to a 580. Well, now you really want to be at a 640 kind of thing. So, the other side of that is we need to make sure that we are communicating with our clients about forbearance. Forbearance continues to be one of those things that keeps me up at night. It worries me.
Yes.
Because there's a large bait and switch. And so right now, as of last week, 5.5% of all mortgages got some kind of a forbearance agreement. The challenge with that is what we see is that if you get a 90-day forbearance, at the end of the 90 days, you've got to pay 3 months worth of that mortgage plus the upcoming month. So basically, you get a 3-month get out of jail free card. Now, at the end of that, now you have to go and you have to pay this all back in bulk. The other challenge is once that you start a mortgage forbearance. So let's say that a client does a mortgage forbearance and then they're like, oh my goodness, I can't do I can't pay 4 months of mortgage. Or if they did a 6-month forbearance, now they got to pay 7 months of mortgage. I can't do that. Well, guess what? Because you just did forbearance, you don't qualify for being able to refinance that loan because you did forbearance kind of thing. We're seeing people that hey, we're going to sell and then turn around and buy, and then they go out and they take advantage of a forbearance. Well, guess what? That just destroyed their credit. They're not going to be able to go buy for at least 6 months to a year now, kind of thing. So we need to make sure that we're communicating with our homeowners, kind of thing. And I understand that for some of our clients, this is something that they need to do, and I got that. The best rule of thumb is for them to reach out to their mortgage lender and see exactly what that forbearance. Because there are some lenders that will add that on to the end of the loan, but most of them are not, is what we're seeing. There's talk in the government about them doing something to try and alleviate that kind of thing, because even when they do a forbearance, the mortgage companies still have to pay that interest on that money every month, kind of thing. And so that's one of those issues that's kind of behind the scenes that really is driving this whole thing. So if the government steps in, we are going to see something happening along those lines. But please be talking to your clients about forbearance. We need to be the place where folks go and get this kind of advice and information from. All right. So next up is sheltering in place good business? Because this is something that we've, Ming and I have been debating this issue as well. And kind of the interesting thing is that, NPIs, non-pharmaceutical interventions such as sheltering in place, social distancing, it does have a positive effect on the economy, because when you do that, the economy comes back faster and more vigorously. So that's really what we've been seeing. But the other side of that, and something that we're going to continue to see over the next week or so, or maybe next month or so, I guess would really be a better term. Here in Georgia, we're supposed to be sheltering in place to the 30th. And I have no crystal balls to say what's going to happen in 10 days from now. Will they remove the shelter in place? How's that going to work? But we have to start preparing ourselves for what does going back to work look like. Mm-hmm. For our buyers, for our sellers, what does that world look like? And how can we facilitate that? But the other thing that we're seeing is, and the thing that I worry about more on that side of things is, as agents, how are you working right now? In the offices, all our offices are still open, but we don't have anyone, that is renting desk space right now. Everyone's kind of working from home. But because so many of us went from having a schedule, a routine kind of thing, we have to look at doing business differently than we were. So how are we work now? How are our showings working? How are our listings working? What does office time look like? And office time is a really big one. I don't mean office time by getting up and going out. I do suggest that you put pants on, because it's, it's one of those things where when you get up and you get dressed and you set yourself up for the day, you go and you get stuff done. You sit in your pajamas all day, guess what? You're not getting nothing done. You're just going to sit around and watch, Tiger King all day. So, what is your routine? What is your schedule? We have got to get ourselves into a working schedule, into a routine where we can achieve what we're trying to achieve. Right now, we know that there's a lot of stuff going on, or there's a lot of things that are hindering us. But the other side of this is that there's a lot of folks who are doing some amazing things, and we know that this is coming back. And so if you're waiting for the business for the economy to start before you start engaging your clients, you're going to be behind the 8 ball.
Absolutely.
We need to be engaging right now, because it's once the economy starts and you try and engage, then you're too late. Right now, there's a lot of folks hanging out at home kind of thing. We need to be reaching out to them right now. All the pros right now are betting on a post-pandemic rebound. Our spring market is coming. That's really, really, what we're looking at this thing is, as soon as summer comes back into play, we're going to see this thing really, really starting to erupt. Fires and hurricanes is one of those things where we've seen something very similar. Nothing, on one hand, we say there's nothing like what we're going through now with this whole economic tsunami about what's going on from coronavirus. But if you actually look at particular markets, when fires and hurricanes come through, this is actually pretty similar in a lot of ways. When a fire, a hurricane, a natural disaster comes in, pretty much everything in that area stops, changes. And then it goes, and so we see a stop of economic activity in these areas. And then as soon as that is over, what do we see? We see that these same areas, there's a flourish of activity. There's a lot of things going on, and that's really what we're looking at. We need to take our lessons learned from these terrible events and understand that this is what we're going into. Because the positive side of things is that the number of people that contact an agent to assist them with a sale of their home, 75% only contact one agent. Okay, that's really good news, because if we're first and we have a pulse, chances are we're going to end up getting that business kind of thing. The other thing is, according to Forbes, sales reps who use social media in their sales process outperform almost 80% of their peers.
Absolutely.
And so one thing that we really want to encourage you is to be reaching out in social media. But we want to, I'm going to encourage you to be a little bit different.
Well, the thing is, you wonder why Zillow, Realtor.com, all these online sites has all these referral gift to sell back to us agents. That's because they're very active in the social media and online presence. And that's what sets them apart. And over the years, Zillow has built themselves to be a number one.
But see, the thing that where we can always beat those platforms is because we have a heart, because we have relationships. And that's why we're going to really encourage you to do less contenting and more commenting. I know it seems like in normally on social media, content is king. But what we want to encourage you is to really look at engaging your comments and engaging the folks that you're following, that follow you, and go out there. You can do some amazing things by becoming a super fan. Because when you become a super fan, you get a lot of attention for people. And so, first of all, you can build your entire brand without comments, because comments are content. If your friend posts on something and you comment, do they see it? Absolutely. And so the more going in and commenting on other folks' content, first of all, it's free. And it's so easy to do. You just go in, you make comments. That's cute. That's great. I love this idea. Way to go. Blah, 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 that kind of stuff. People love when you comment on their content. The great part about that is it's super easy for you to do. You can go in and set up notifications. and other people's notifications will automatically alert them when you commented on there. It sets up and trains your social media algorithms so that they know, so that it starts building your online presence as well, because you're engaging more. You come across as a really good community member, and you can do the exact same thing with direct messaging on social media as well. So when you go in, another thing I want you to look at doing is going in and on Facebook custom friends list down here on the left, you can go in and you can create your own custom Facebook friends list.
Mhm.
And on there, you can set up anybody in there, so long as you're friends. That's the only thing. You have to be friends on there, kind of thing. And then you can see all those folks that shows the post. You'll never miss that. You don't need notifications. This is not a Facebook group. And it's super easy to do. And it lets you engage with the folks that you're trying to engage on more. We're going to encourage you to do the 10-10-10 method. And basically what the 10-10-10 method is this is where you go out and, so on the 10-10-10, you're going to spend 30 minutes on social media. And I want to focus primarily on Facebook. So, and with the 10-10-10, I want you to go out and spend 10 minutes engaging or making your content, going through and sharing what's going on in your life and what's happening out there. And then you notice that, like the first 10 is just 10 minutes. The next 10 shows a down arrow. Go through your news feeds and go down through there for 10 minutes. Comment, engage. And then the next 10 minutes, go across the top of the screen and go through everybody in there, and go through the stories. The great thing about the things that's going on in stories are these are people who are active. These are people who are active now and engaging.
Mhm.
And so when you'll spend 10 minutes on posting and making some content, 10 minutes on commenting on your news feeds, 10 minutes on commenting on the stories across there, this gets you very, very active. Now, you can do this a couple of times a day. You can do it multiple times a day. But what I encourage, and one of the reasons why we like the 10-10-10 is it also limits you.
Your time.
Right, because it's super easy. Like you can, especially if you start watching videos, for example, 4 hours later, there's drool coming out the corner of your mouth, and you're just watching cats with funny hats videos, kind of thing.
Or dogs.
Or dogs.
Or
But
Tammy.
you're just not getting anything done. And so really working this into your business is what we really want to encourage you with right now. And so, we can do a lot in social media that doesn't require pure pure content creation. Don't get me wrong, because I think content creation is great, but I also know a lot of you, and I love you, but you're scared to death of video. So many of you are not going to do video, or not posting as much as you should be. You're not engaging as much as you can be. Well, guess what? If you comment, you can be engaging a lot more. You can be truly building more and more relationships, because we got to understand that business is being done differently now than it was being done in the past. We're seeing it across the board, and social media is another one of those things, especially if you're a salty old dude like me who has a hard time understanding that you can build relationships online. You can build relationships through Facebook and social media that just seemed foreign to me. Now I realize that you really can. You can.
Well, that's actually the millennial way, honestly. They build a lot of relationship online. I see my daughter. I mean, it's funny because she'll have a group of girls in our house, and all of them will be looking at their phones, and they actually are communicating through their phone while they're in the same room. It's a weird thing, but that's their trend. And not saying that's right or wrong, but that is just how they learn how to operate. Um, 9 out of 10.
Yep. Well, we appreciate you. We hope that this was helpful. We're going to continue to do these every single week, kind of give you
Updates of the market,
weekly snapshot about what's going on in the market, what's going on, along with trends and things that we see are coming on. We want you to be ready to engage business. The biggest thing I see right now is we see too many people waiting for the market to come back instead of engaging. The relationships that you build now are going to be what carries you through spring and summer.
And I can tell you right now, there's going to be a boom in listing as well as buyers activity as soon as people are back on track on their work schedule. And one thing, just leave you with this. I had an agent, a matter of fact, Shalinda Lee. She interviewed with a client, and the client basically asked her, say, why should I use you versus Mark Spain? And Shalinda said, if you call me, you get me. Okay. If you call Mark Spain, you'll get someone in his team, and that may not translate the message down. So when you're dealing with me, I will always answer. So, and that got her the listing.
Yeah.
So y'all, it does work, relationship work, and people want to feel comfort. They want to know that you're professional in your field, and they want to know that they are important to you. One thing I learned from one of my old mentor was that one of her client comment, and she go by this, she said that her client always felt like when she's dealing with them, they're the only client available. Okay. So when you are with your client, give them 100% your attention and cut off your phone or do a short message, voicemail, whatever you need to do, and let other clients know that you're currently serving another client, that you'll get back with them as soon as possible. So it is important that people feel special, feel connected, and feel that they can trust you at the end of the day.
But the time to do that is now. Once the
Absolutely.
market starts coming back, people are going to start going to work. Right now, we have this really unique window in time when people are sitting around. We can build these relationships right now, and we're just, if you're waiting on this to happen, you're wasting time. You're losing a prime opportunity
market share
right now, because you can set yourself up to be on fire coming out of this. Or you can sit back and say, I'll try and do it then. But at that point, guess what? Everybody gets busy, and you're not going to have this time that we have right now to go out and engage and build relationships.
And sometimes it can be just something funny, an opinion about barbecue place. It doesn't always have to be, shoving down their throat about housing. So, sometimes they like to see a personality as well.
So go be
Okay.
fun.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Enjoy. Have a
we
great
really
Monday.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. If we can do anything, please call, text, smoke signals. We don't care.
Smoke signal.
Yeah. Bye, y'all.
See ya.